You know that feeling. It is Sunday night. You are trying to relax, maybe watch a movie, but there is a tightness in your chest. You check your bank account for the third time, doing mental gymnastics to figure out if you can afford the credit card bill, the car note, and the groceries all in the same week. You tell yourself, if I just made another $10,000 a year, this feeling would go away. Here is the brutal truth. You are lying to yourself. I have met people making $50,000 who sleep like babies, and I have met executives making $300,000 who are on the verge of a cardiac event because they are terrified of losing their paycheck. The amount of money you make has almost zero correlation with how stressed you feel about it. My name is Dave, and I have spent years decoding the psychology of wealth to understand why rich people often feel poor and why average people can feel like kings. If you are tired of the anxiety knot in your stomach, smash that subscribe button and hit the like, because today we are going to calculate the exact mathematical point where money stops feeling like a prison and starts feeling like a tool. Here is the concept that breaks people's brains. Financial peace is not a number, it is a ratio. Society trains you to focus on the income side of the equation. They tell you to hustle, get the promotion, get the side gig, and chase the bag. But they conveniently forget to tell you about the burn rate. Let's look at two guys. We have High Roller Henry. Henry makes $200,000 a year. He drives a leased Range Rover, lives in a luxury condo downtown, sends his kids to private school, and vacations in the Maldives. He looks successful. But Henry's burn rate, the cost to maintain his existence, is $195,000 a year. If Henry loses his job on Tuesday, he is bankrupt by Friday. Henry is stressed out of his mind because he is walking a tightrope with no safety net. Then we have Steady Steve. Steve makes $70,000 a year. He drives a 5-year-old Toyota, lives in a modest house, and cooks at home. But Steve's burn rate is $40,000. Steve saves $30,000 a year. If Steve loses his job, he can survive for months, maybe years, without panicking. Steve is free. Henry is a slave to his lifestyle. The point where money stops being stressful isn't when you hit $1 million. It is the moment your gap, the difference between what you earn and what you burn, becomes wide enough to suffocate your anxiety. Most people never reach this point because of a psychological trap called the Hedonic Treadmill. It works like this. You get a raise. You feel rich for about 3 weeks. Then you decide you deserve a nicer car. You upgrade your apartment. You start buying the $15 wine instead of the $8 wine. You get the premium gym membership. Suddenly, your expenses have risen to meet your new income. You are running faster, but you are in the exact same spot. You have simply upgraded the quality of your handcuffs. This is why you see people making 6 figures living paycheck to paycheck. They aren't broke because they don't earn enough. They are broke because they have zero control over their ego. They are buying things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. So, where is the magic line? When does the stress actually vanish? It happens in 3 distinct stages, and most people never even clear stage 1. Stage 1 is what I call the fortress of solitude. This is when you have 6 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account. Not invested. Not in crypto. Cash. Accessible, boring, liquid cash. When you have the fortress, your boss loses power over you. If they threaten to fire you, your heart rate doesn't spike. You know you can survive. You stop making decisions out of fear and start making them out of strategy. You walk differently. You negotiate better. The Sunday night dread evaporates because you know that even in a worst-case scenario, you are safe. But here is the sad statistic. 60% of Americans couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency with savings. They are living on the razor's edge. If the car breaks down, it is a crisis. If the water heater blows, it is a tragedy. When you live like that, money is always stressful because you are always one bad day away from ruin. Stage 2 is the crossover point. This is the holy grail. This is the mathematical moment where the income from your investments, your dividends, your interest, your rental cash flow, exceeds your survival expenses. Notice I said survival expenses, not your luxury expenses. I mean the cost of your rent, food, and utilities. The moment your passive income covers your basic existence, a switch flips in your brain. You realize that you no longer have to work to stay alive. You work because you want to build more or because you enjoy it. The desperation vanishes completely. Let's do the math on this because it is more achievable than you think. Let's say your bare bones survival number is $3,000 a month. That is $36,000 a year. To generate that passively at a safe 4% withdrawal rate, you need a portfolio of $900,000. Now, $900,000 sounds like a mountain, but remember, we aren't trying to replace your entire salary yet. We are trying to replace your survival. And you don't need to hit the full number to feel the relief. Even getting halfway there changes your psychology. When you know your portfolio generates enough to cover your rent stops being a source of stress. You have effectively eliminated one of the biggest line items in your anxiety budget. Stage 3 is escape velocity. This is when your passive income covers your dream life. This is the forget you money. But here's the secret. You don't need to reach stage 3 to stop stressing. You only need to reach stage 1, the fortress, to reclaim your mental health. Why do so many smart, capable people never reach even stage 1? It comes down to what I call the status trap. We live in a culture that weaponizes our insecurity. Marketing is designed to make you feel inadequate. The entire economy is built on convincing you that the solution to your unhappiness is a purchase. You feel lonely? Buy this dating app subscription. You feel uncool? Lease this BMW. You feel tired? Buy this expensive supplement. We try to spend our way out of emotional problems, which only creates financial problems, which leads to more stress, which leads to more spending. It is a doom loop. The people who escape this loop are the ones who realize that wealth is invisible. Wealth is the car you didn't buy. It is the clothes you didn't upgrade. It is the first-class ticket you declined. Wealth is the money that you did not turn into a thing. When you see a guy driving a $100,000 car, you don't know if he is wealthy. All you know is that he has $100,000 less than he used to, or he has $100,000 of debt. But when you see a guy driving a 5-year-old Honda, he might have $2 million in the bank. You can't see his freedom, but he can feel it. To reach the point where stress vanishes, you have to ruthlessly audit your burn rate. You have to look at your life and ask, what am I spending money on that is purely for my ego? Is that $3,000 apartment necessary? Or could you be just as happy in a $1,800 place for a few years while you build your fortress? Is that new truck necessary for your commute? Or is it a costume you are wearing to feel masculine? Are those designer clothes necessary? Or are you trying to signal status to strangers at the mall? Every dollar you cut from your burn rate does two things. 1, it frees up cash to invest, which builds your fortress faster. 2, and this is crucial, it lowers the amount you need to reach the crossover point. If you can be happy on $3,000 a month instead of $5,000, you have just reduced your freedom number by hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have accelerated your retirement by a decade just by controlling your wants. There is a concept in finance called Runway. Startups use it to calculate how long they can survive before they go bust. You need to calculate your personal runway. If you stopped working today, how many months could you survive? If the answer is 2 weeks, you are in the danger zone. Your stress is valid. Your body is telling you that you are vulnerable. If the answer is 2 years, you have reached a level of security that 95% of the population will never know. And here's the beautiful part about expanding your runway. It gives you the power to say no. When you have money in the bank, you can say no to a toxic boss. You can say no to overtime you don't want. You can say no to bad clients. You can say no to desperation. The ability to say no is the ultimate luxury. It is worth more than any watch, any car, or any vacation. So, how do we get there? How do we stop the bleeding? First, you have to stop playing the victim of the economy. Yes, inflation is real. Yes, housing is expensive. Yes, wages are stagnant. But unless you are the chairman of the Federal Reserve, you cannot change those things. You can only control your own economy. You need to perform a system reset on your finances. Tonight, open your bank statement. Look at every single transaction from the last 90 days. Highlight the things that were essential for survival in green. Highlight the things that brought you genuine, deep joy in yellow. Highlight the things you bought out of boredom, habit, or ego in red. Stop doing the red things immediately. Optimize the yellow things and automate the green things. Take the money you save from the red category and auto-draft it into a separate account. Call it your freedom fund. Do not look at it. Do not touch it. Let it grow. The first $1,000 will feel like a struggle. The first $10,000 will feel like a grind. But somewhere around $20,000 or $30,000, you will feel a physical shift in your body. Your shoulders will drop. Your breathing will slow down. You will realize that if the car breaks, you can just write a check. You won't have to beg, borrow, or put it on a credit card at 25% interest. That feeling? That is the feeling of buying your dignity back. The problem with most financial advice is that it focuses on getting rich. Getting rich is a long, slow process. But getting free can happen much faster. You can get free by lowering your burn rate tomorrow. You can get free by deciding that you don't need to keep up with the Joneses because the Joneses are broke and medicated for their anxiety. I want you to imagine a version of your life where you don't dread Monday morning. Not because you don't work, but because you don't have to work. Imagine a life where a surprise bill is just an annoyance, not a catastrophe. Imagine a life where you make decisions based on what excites you, not what pays the most immediately. That life is available. It is waiting for you at the crossover point. But you will never get there if you keep inflating your lifestyle every time you get a raise. You will never get there if you keep buying liabilities and calling them assets. You have to decide what matters more to you, looking rich or being free. You cannot have both in the beginning. You have to choose. If you choose freedom, the path is boring. It is simple. It is repetitive. It involves cooking at home, driving old cars, and investing in dull index funds. It is not sexy. It won't get you likes on Instagram, but it will get you your life back. And let me tell you, waking up every day knowing that you own your time, that is a high that no luxury purchase can ever match. So do the math. Find your survival number. Build your fortress. And stop letting society dictate what success looks like. Success is sleeping well at night. If this video helped you see the exit door, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to Dave Invest. We are building a community of people who are opting out of the stress Olympics. I'll see you in the next one.